What is up then, guys? How is everybody? Today we are going to be doing our 23-24 Premier League prediction with rewards of player of the season, top goal scorer, flop of the season, breakout player, and all of those sorts. So guys, stay tuned to see them at the end of the video. We're going to get straight into this then now. It's going to be tough to call. There might be a few things changed near the end. But we're going to start off with a Brighton Hove Albion, now a team that have just secured European football last season after a brilliant year. I do think it might take its toll. I do think they've lost a lot of decent players. So I'm going to put them in that mid-table range of 8 to 12, and we will sort players out in position. Not players, sorry, teams out soon. The next up we have Everton. A team that have had 2 poor seasons, but they've had a full summer now with Sean Dyche, who knows how to stay up in the Premier League. Brilliant manager. He knows how to play the boring, disgusting looking football, but he knows how to play it and make it actually look brilliant. So for that reason, I'm going to say that they're going to survive. They're going to be in and around it again, but they will survive this year. And next up, we have Newcastle United. Again, a team that have had an unbelievable season. Managed to get top 4 Champions League football. Made a brilliant signing. Tonali, Harvey Barnes. Livramento, I think at the time of talking about this, is being talked. I think they've agreed a fee. I'm not sure if he signed the deal yet. But I think, again, they'll have another solid season. They'll do half decent in Champions League. But again, I'm going to put them finishing above Brighton. But I don't think they'll get that European football again. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean anything bad, Newcastle fans. You're going to be up there. Still, believe me. Next up, we have Burnley. Played some gorgeous looking football under Vincent Kompany last season. In the Championship, though. Can he come up to the Premier League and replicate it? We don't know. Is his squad talented enough? They've lost 3 of their best players, like Teller and things like that. So it will be interesting. I do think they're going to stay up. I think they're actually going to finish above Everton. So we'll see. Similar with West Ham, won the Conference League last year. Had a poor season in the league. Probably deserved to win the Conference League though, however. Another team though I think that will struggle. They've lost their best player in Declan Rice. 105 mil they brought back for him, which is major. I'm going to put them finishing, being in the scrap, but finishing above Everton. Next up we have Brentford. No Ivan Toney for half a season, which is going to really kill them. I do think they'll have a poor first few months without him. They need to find out somebody that can supply the goals that Ivan Toney's been supplying them for years. I don't think they'll be in a relegation scrap come the end of the season, but for the start of it, I think they might be. But I do think they're going to be around that mid-table point. They're not going to be anything special, but they will be difficult to play some weeks. Next up, Crystal Palace. Again, a team that had another poor season. Sat Vieira. Brought in a new manager and absolutely battering teams for fun, to be fair to him. Scoring goals like nothing. But we've seen Elise's been spoken about going. Zaha's gone. Eze, how long is he going to stay there for? That's a question. Player and half in Elise and Eze. I do think they're going to be in around a scrap, but again, above Everton and above West Ham, in my opinion. Next up is Sheffield United, and this, for me, in our opinion, I'm sorry, Sheffield United fans, but you are our 20th team in the league. I don't think you've got I think you've got the weakest team in the league. I think it would have been Luton a few weeks ago, but I think they've done good enough business. And for me, I just don't think you've done enough. I think you are going to finish a rock bottom in the league. Please, don't shoot me, I'm sorry. Next up we have is Bournemouth. The Bournemouth just sacking Alex O'Neill after a brilliant season. I don't even want to talk about it. I want them to go down. 18th. Tottenham Hotspurs now. Again, a new manager in Postecoglou, however you say the geezer's name. I don't want to keep attempting it. But if you lose Harry Kane, you're really going to struggle. If you keep him, you might do okay, I suppose. I think you're going to have an average. I don't think you're going to do much better than you did last season, but I will put you in Conference League for now. That might change with Newcastle. Not sure yet. And then next up we have Nottingham Forest, a team that, from what I know, haven't done outstanding business. But they got rid of quite a few players that they needed to get rid of. Yeah, I think they've had an average window for what they needed to get rid of a lot of players. And, you know, you can't bring in more before you sell them at the moment. I do think they're going to be in around that scrap. I think they'll finish above Everton, but below West Ham. Now, I don't need to say anything. They're our 4th-time champions. 4th time in a row. They're going to win it. It's just a way of life, isn't it, with them now. They're just a different level of football side. Next up then we have Liverpool, who for their standard had a very poor season last year. Absolutely pulled it all together though near the end of the season when they moved Trent into that midfield position. However, I don't think they've actually had a strong window. Now, that's going to sound very, you know, I think it's controversial. A lot of people think the sign of Sozobala, maybe you say that bloke's name as well. And McAllister, I think a lot of people think that's good business over getting someone like Jude Bellingham in. But in my opinion, you signed 2 number 10s when you needed a holding midfielder, number 8, right back, centre half. You've not signed any of those positions. You could have signed Jude Bellingham for 100 mil, kept Henderson, moved Trent into centre mid, and brought in a right back, and that would have been a much better window in my opinion. Why not? You know, you've got that money. You're one of the biggest clubs in England, in the world even. Bring in Jude Bellingham, have moved Trent into centre mid. You've got your 2 number 8s there, and you've got Henderson holding midfielder. Henderson can do it for another 2 years. In my opinion, I think he walks into 90% of the Premier League's midfields. I think he's one of the best and most underrated holding midfielders in the world. I'm not saying he's one of the best in the world, but he's one of the most underrated because he doesn't do he does the technical parts of the game and the simple parts of the game so well. But because he's not a skillful, pretty-looking player, he doesn't get the same ratings as what I think he should get. But that's my opinion. For me, I think you've lost too many leaders. Even Fabinho. Keep Fabinho. You've got to keep holding midfielder, and you ain't brought one in yet. For me, you finish in 5th. Well, 6th even. Because top 5 gets Champions League this year. Which is strange. Next up, though, we have Fulham. Fulham, no Mitrovic, but you've kept Marco Silva, which is great. Well, no Mitrovic, if things go the way that they look like they could probably go. Again, I don't think you've done enough business. Willian, you know, how long is he going to keep up the performances that he can do? For me, what have we got? 8, 9, 10. I'm going to put you guys as 11th. I'll be honest with you. And then next up we have Wolves, who I've just noticed. So we are going to actually move Burnley up to 12th. And Wolves behind Palace, behind West Ham. Maybe even behind Forest. I'm going to actually put Wolves 17th. When I actually think about it, you know, we're just seeing Lopetegui might be going. Which I won't blame him because they're in a lot of trouble with FFP Wolves. A lot of trouble. I just don't see them doing enough this season. I think 17th, if they're lucky, Bournemouth could finish above them still also. So yeah, Wolves my club for 17th. So that is basically our midpoint of the table sorted. And now all we've got is our European sides and 1 relegation side. And we've got my club, Aston Villa, here now. I am going to... Oh, don't shoot me, because I genuinely believe we could finish anywhere between 5th and 8th this season. I think that if we do finish outside of Europe, we've got to have a cup run. We've got to do something in a cup. Either one of the 3 that we're going to be in. League Cup, FA Cup, Conference League. And ideally, I would love to win the Conference League. Whether we can do that, it's always a tough ask in terms of cup competitions. It's 1 game, innit, and you're out. But don't shoot me. I'm going to put us 5th. Like I say, Champions League goes to the top 5 this season, so that is why they're in the Champions League spot and not Europa League spot. You know, call me deluded or fair result. I think 5th is the best we could probably achieve. 8th is the worst that I would accept. And if we finish 8th, I want a cup run. Next up is Arsenal, finishing 2nd in the league last season. Let themselves down near the end. But they've signed Havertz, Timber, and Rice, which are brilliant signings. Just won the Community Shield against Man City. Now, they're a team, though, that I am begrudgingly going to be putting to finish 3rd, I think, in the league. Again, won't be a bad season. We're going to have a 3-horse race, in my opinion, with Manchester United, actually, funnily enough, being the team to come 2nd. You know, it's always tough to predict them because you don't know how players are going to gel. Like, Havertz might actually be world class for Arsenal. It could be the changing point between them finishing 3rd and winning the league. You know, Liverpool, poor season last year. I believe they've lost all their leaders, well, majority of them. And their midfield's actually majorly weaker. And everyone says midfield's winning your games. Villa, brilliant business in the window, but who knows? Next up is Chelsea, who I think are going to finish 4th. Again, got a brilliant manager in Poch. Had done decent business. Probably should have actually got rid of a lot more numbers, in my opinion. But it is what it is. They're going to finish 4th, in my opinion. And last but not least, finishing 19th. I'm sorry, Luton fans, but it's just you guys. I do just think you're here for a ride. You've done some good business, but I think you're setting up to go back down. The main thing for you guys is you've got to turn that home ground into a horrific place to play. People need to fear going to your ground to have a chance, I think, at staying up and getting results. But looking at this, we've got City set 1st, United 2nd, Arsenal 3rd, Chelsea 4th, Villa 5th, Liverpool 6th, Newcastle 7th, Tottenham 8th, Brighton 9th, Brentford 10th, Fulham 11th, Burnley 12th, Palace 13th, West Ham 14th, Forest 15th, Everton 16th, Wolves 17th, Bournemouth 18th, Luton 19th, Sheffield 20th. That, guys, is my 23-24 table prediction. If you bear with me for 2 seconds, we're going to go straight into what I think is going to be flops and make the seasons. Yes, then. So we are back then right now with our Premier League rewards. We're going to just go straight into it. It's one slide. We've got player of the season. It's meant to be player of the season. Top goal scorer. Flop of the season. Surprise player of the season. That's a player I think that people will sort of maybe expect to do maybe average or have a bit of a quality season. But I actually think I'm going to merge into actually being one of the team's most important players. And our breakout player, that could be a lot of things. You know, it could be age, it could be, you know, minutes, how many minutes are they going to play, and things like that. So for player of the season, most of these are probably pretty obvious. But player of the season, I'm going Kevin De Bruyne. It's just a joke, isn't it? I think if Man City win the league again, he's going to have like a massive part. I don't need to say much more. Top goal scorer, you already know it, Haaland. Again, he's going to score 30 plus goals. The goal is an absolute machine. Now, I don't think he's scored this pre-season, but no one's touching his numbers, are there? You know, Harry Kane had a worldie of a season last year and didn't get near him. So here's what it is. Flop of the season, controversial. You're probably all going to hate me, but I'm going to go Tonali. I don't think he'll be able to keep up with the pace and physicality of the league as well. When I watched him when Villa played him in pre-season, I know it was early doors, but he was getting bullied across the pitch by players like McGinn and Ramsey and things. Well, not Ramsey, even Buendia. McGinn and Buendia were bullying him. Failing Tonali, I'm going to go with one of Villa's new signings and say Pau Torres. If you guys, you know, want to disagree that much on Tonali, I will say I think Pau Torres is going to be the next flop. I worry that his physicality and aerial duels aren't good enough. But we'll see. You know, there might be flops for the first couple months until they get used to the speed and things like that, and then they might emerge into being one of the players of the season for your club. Now, surprise player of the season, I'm going with Madueke. I watched him in the under-18s tournament, and I thought he was it under-18s or under-21s for England anyway this summer. I thought he was unreal. I think he's decent. I do think Chelsea eventually at one point of the season are going to start be needing him. And I do think he's going to break out, become a first-team player. Potentially over Mudryk, who knows. Now, a breakout player, there was a lot for this. Madueke could have actually been one of them. And, you know, you've got Aaron Ramsey potentially going to Burnley. You've got Alvarez going to West Ham. There's a few of them. But I've gone with Jadon Philogene-Bidas. I've watched him all pre-season for Villa. And this guy is a player. I will tell you that for nothing. He's a joke. And I do genuinely believe he's probably our second best winger at the club right now. And I do think he's going to play a lot of minutes. I think he starts this weekend against Newcastle. But for me, guys, that is my rewards of the season and my 23-24 Premier League table. If you enjoyed, please drop a like. Subscribe for weekly content of Pro Things Premier League. And comment down below if you guys agree with my tier list and my rewards. And who would you change? And I'll see you all in a bit.